It's about time for the music industry to change once again. Spotify just snatched 150 M's off artists' plate, and direct to consumer is sounding like the solution to all these problems. I go by the name of Hemingway. I'm an independent artist and creator, and I've been releasing music for well over a decade now, and I'm still at it. I got some independent information for all my other artists and creators out there, so we're gonna get into it. So, like I said, I personally have been releasing music since 2009, 2010, and along the way, I've not only learned how to become a better artist, but I also am what we would consider a DIY artist. I do majority of my creation and stuff like that myself. So, shortly after I started rapping, I started recording myself and engineering. Not only just recording, I wanted to learn the ins and outs of actually mixing because early on I was like, well, if I know how to do this, not only is it part of my creative process, but it also cuts overhead and things like that. Then later on, I got into getting better with video production. I started out in 2009, 2010 doing a bunch of vlogs and stuff like that, just having a camera up in my face like this. But I wanted to learn a little bit more for not only vlogs, but doing my own music videos and stuff like that and other content as the years went on. And then I got into the point where I dibbled and dabbled with music production, but the the thing to bring it full circle for me was if I can write it, record slash mix it, produce it, and actually shoot the visual for it at the end of the day with help of other people that I can kind of contract out to assist me with making this overall thing come true, then I'm cutting so much other overhead off that it's something that, you know what I'm saying, would benefit me as a business and as an artist. I actually like to do these things. So, with all that being said, when I started out making music that long ago, it was still the era. It was almost like I won't say the first wave of independence, but it was the first wave of the internet independent artists. And that's where you started to see people doing a lot of I don't even remember some of these sites, but like those like flash downloads with their mixtapes and just sending the links and stuff like that, and people selling them for $1 or $2 or whatever. Maybe it was free, whatever. But a lot of artists, well before we got to mixtape sites, and right when we were still stuck in that blog era, like the peak of it, a lot of artists were making a lot of money selling things directly to their fans or directly from their site, or of course, merch and stuff like that directly at shows and things like that. So over time, the music industry, it always kind of changes or repeats itself ever so often with anything, music, life, whatever. There's something new kind of introduced, but for the most part, it all repeats itself. And right now, it's looking like we were stuck in the streaming era, probably I'd say for the last 10 years strong. From 2014, it was pretty much solidified to now. And now, with a lot of artists, they're like, I need to get more ROI. You know what I'm saying? I need more return on my investment out of all this music that I'm putting out. This is from the major label artists to the independent artists, because at this point, we're all utilizing the same platforms. And even though the major labels have they have majority of the territory as far as streaming and stuff sewn up, when things change, it affects everybody. So the first clip that I have here is actually Curtis King talking about just the fact that the industry is going to be changing and just some of the ways about that. So I'm gonna let him speak and I'm gonna give my feedback on this clip.
The direction that the industry is going in terms of how you're able to make money from your music. If you can't get the same shows that you once got because ticket sales are down even for the big dogs, something changes. If streams are not what they once were, because now there's bots that are in place to see who's being fictitious or lying about their streams, something changes. The tricks that you got away with when it was just go viral and then spike up your streams for some money, you don't got to be good to do that. You just got to be strategic. You just got to have good timing. However, when you're talking about direct to consumer, then people have a conversation before they check out and buy your music. How much is this music really worth to me? Streaming is not a buying behavior. Streaming is a reaction. When you have to buy something, the rules change.
And like he make a great point, because people aren't buying music no more. Like that's just once streaming kicked off, a lot of people they went from buying music physically with CDs, buying music online, actually when, you know, iTunes and stuff like that was holding, really was up there ranking above all the streaming platforms. And now they're just so used to streaming, and we're out of the era where people can go viral and then just tweak their streams, or, you know, and get bots and stuff like that, like Curtis was saying, and make it look like you actually have more listeners than you really do. That was also something that was on the rise probably the last 6 to 8 years. And now Spotify in particular, being the number one streaming platform, they're changing their not only their payout their payouts to artists and songwriters, but also they're now auditing streams, and artists that aren't getting if your song individually isn't getting 1,000 streams within the term of the payout term, you're not gonna get paid. And basically, if you fall under that, you're not gonna get paid at all. If you go over that, then you're gonna get paid the 0.00349 cents or whatever it is, and that's still nothing. And on top of that, now they're at a point where they're taking money, like just snatching money off the plate for artists and creatives and songwriters. So it's like, it's getting crazy out here. And going to a place where you have shifting your music to a place to where you can actually make the money that it's worth off of it, that would probably be something that would be more beneficial than not for most artists, because a lot of us that do this aren't getting crazy hella millions of hundred thousands of, you know, 6-figure streams. It's just not the reality of what it is. But with that being said, right, the way Spotify's out here moving, I actually got this clip from Gino the Ghost. He's a creative and songwriter. And when I use the word creative now, I really just mean an artist, but I mean creative too, as far as some people aren't necessarily just music artists. They are podcasts. You know, they're people who own podcasts, people who might release other forms of audio, even audio books and stuff like that. But he's actually about to get into this here about how Spotify is basically taking money off the table for artists, man.
Spotify has announced that they will be recategorizing its premium subscription packages as bundles. It is going to reduce royalty payouts by an expected $150 million in the first year. So Spotify, who claimed that they were here for songwriters, is tricking consumers and everybody else to bundle audiobooks. Oh, thank you, Spotify, for the notable songwriter playlist. I'm fed the fuck up, dude. You know what? It's time to get serious. Pikachu, I'm putting the fucking Pit Vipers on. Give me these. Yeah, sorry, buddy. First of all, let's get this out of the way. Daniel Ek. Suck my... You know what Daniel Ek did? He cashed out $119 million in Spotify shares last month after a record quarter. Great job, music industry. You're letting one man dump on your dumb fucking heads. Oh, that's right. They don't care because they're making more money than they've ever made. And songwriters, who are the backbone of the industry, are making pennies on the penny on the penny on the dollar. And that's not enough. We're going to take more money away from them. I've tried organizing multiple times. The top songwriters in the industry are not doing anything. How is Ray the only artist talking about this shit? I have friends who have #1 records that are month to month. I'm fucking exhausted. I'm tired.
All right, and that's Gino the Ghost. He's a songwriter as well, and he's actually someone who, you know, works in the industry. And he's I came across his podcast from some other people that I actually listen to, and just him making the point, like, Curtis King actually mentioned it in one of his lives too, just going over the changes that everything that Spotify is doing. But they're not only did they're saying they're going to pay that much less to artists and songwriters, like Gino just stated, it was one of the highest years for them as far as income, and he's selling shares before he ends up making this type of change to take money off the table. And something that Curtis King noted was that also you got to think about some of the big podcasts that Spotify in particular have, like the Joe Rogan podcast and things like that, and what they got to pay them to stay a part of that company, or what they already were contractually obligated to pay them prior to all this. So all that does is it's finding some type of way to take money out of the pot for music artists. And out of all the other forms of entertainment, it's almost like they don't give a damn about musicians. And then once you break it down, depending on your tier, like if you're a songwriter as far as words, if you're an actual producer or beat maker, things like that, that the pay is different. It's the wild wild west in this world, I'm telling you. But again, I started this thing personally because I love music and I love actually creating music. I want to have a say so of what kind of message can be out there musically, because music really does influence everything that we do here in this life. And I've been doing it for so long to a point to where I honestly was never even really selling my music. I would upload it and put it on streaming platforms, but if I'm being honest, I would be more so a little nervous to sell per se. Like I would try to get people to listen, but I wasn't necessarily trying to sell because I used to believe that if the music was good, then people would gravitate towards it, and then you would eventually just win and you would go up. It's a little bit more than that to it. In a world where you got to battle for attention, Spotify, Apple Music, things like that, only paying pennies on the dollar to musicians who are out here really getting hella. A lot of companies outside of music companies are getting hella marketing from us for free just because we're utilizing it. And it's just like, it ain't really worth it, man. It ain't adding up. So next clip that I got up is actually J.R. McKee, and he's a music manager. I've actually covered him before, talking about direct to consumer a little bit, but he's managed K Camp. He's managed Money Long, who is a newer, well, she's a songwriter that's been around for a while, but she's just got her own fame as an artist here over the last few years during the pandemic with Hours and Hours. And then the Joker from back in the day, which I realized from this clip, or I learned during this clip, I didn't know was the case. But he's talking about just going direct to consumer, how he's been doing it, and how it's looking like that's going to be the solution to all of these problems that we talk about here today in this video. So
it's forced into understanding to work independent. Because when my first artist came, the Joker, nobody would sign him.
Right.
And so I had to learn how to make money without the label. And so I did that. We were making $30,000 a month, selling our songs with Joker completely independent. And so that showed me, okay, you can make money without the label. And so I've been pretty much doing that my entire career. Money Long, that was completely independent. We weren't signed to Universal, Sony, Warner, nobody. That was
independent?
That was 100% independent.
Man, you made some money.
Grammy, number one in the world. Yeah, that was 100% independent.
The bank told him, listen, you got to come back tomorrow. We don't have enough for you to leave out today.
and so,
that boy, JR.
My goal was just to get that vision across. Now, I think that artists, like 2-3 years later, artists understand. They understand independence. They understand master ownership. Now my goal is to teach artists, instead of relying on streaming revenue, sell to your fans. Begin selling direct to the fans, because the money you can make. We launched a platform called Even.biz with an artist I had partnered with, LaRussell, and in 6 days he made $150,000 selling his project direct to the fans. And so that just was the pure proof that every artist needed to know, like, okay, you can make money. We had another artist on Even. This man had 55 monthly listeners, meaning nobody was tapped in. He wasn't popping. Nobody was tapped in. He put his
55 monthly listeners.
55 monthly listeners. He put his project up on Even, promoted his project. In 6 days, he made $3,000. You know what I'm saying? So, like, selling direct to the consumer versus a streaming revenue is just night and day.
Yeah, man, it's completely night and day, and that's something that like I said, I can't speak on having high streams and high sales. Or I'm sorry, high streams. I can't speak on that, but I can say most of the money that I've made over these years were me actually selling products, merchandise, doing events, and things like that. I've made some money off of streaming, but I've made close to the same amount of money off doing shows, which isn't a lot. And once I learned how to actually track the shows that I've done, my actual set list with BMI, and to get paid for that was just another way of a revenue. So I've made money through just about every avenue on a small scale, but now it's like, okay, I know I can do it. I can make $5, $10, $20, $100 doing this, with merch or with streams or whatever over a span of some years. How can I get this up to the next level, to, if we talking, micro, to supplement my income, and then, or, just double, triple what I've made, then get to the point where I'm supplementing my income, then I can kind of pour more into it to where I can then just kind of scale it up. And for me, I was always, for a while, this hasn't been the case for a while, but in the early stages, I always thought it would just be just the music that would get me there, or just the, getting that hit, quote unquote, or anything like that. And what I've learned was I have to sell, and that was something that I wanted to do when I already created a community or created a base, but I honestly have to sell to create that community or to create that base. And that was the part that I was kind of disconnected from. So as of now, again, my brand and my campaign, my brand is Hemingway. That's who I am. I'm an artist. I'm a solo artist and engineer and producer. I'm a DIYer. I usually don't mention all the slashes, but I am an artist and songwriter. And up under those two things, I can do pretty much it all. And that's the goal for me, to be a 100%er. And my campaign is still at it. That's my hashtag. That's my ad lib. That's my campaign. And it's like a campaign about being persistent. I'm working on the consistency, and unlike a lot of other artists, I want to talk about the inconsistencies. But one thing I got locked down is being persistent about what I'm trying to do. And I start and I stop and I fall and I get back up and I learn and I do it again. So now I'm at the point where what I'm doing with this brand, I consider y'all my squad, the Still At It squad. Within my email list and my community right now, I have 70 members. So I want to engage with the 70 I got, as well as the 1,000 subscribers I got on YouTube. Make sure y'all click the link and y'all subscribe if you're not already, and like the video. If you get any value out of this, also comment down below as well, and then share it with your other artist friends or other fans of music and artists individually and stuff like that. I would much appreciate it, as well as my Instagram followers. I got 1,700 Instagram followers. I got about 1,800 following me on my regular page on Facebook, and then another like 600 on my fan page. So the goal for me is just to convert as many of those followers, supporters into squad members as possible, and then actually engage with them before I really try to go out and get brand new fans. But once I create this type of content and put it out, I'm gonna attract new people. But with the people that's already rocking with me and actually like what I do, I've been neglecting the fact that I could be funneling, creating, and selling music products and building with those people. And now I really understand how I can do that and approach that, which is why I'm actually making these type of videos now, because there's some things I haven't experienced, but the things that I have, I can speak about. And these are some of the things that it surprises me that other independent artists don't even think about or don't even know. So just last year, I had somebody tell me, come to do a session with me, and they told me they still didn't know how to get their music on streaming platforms and stuff like that. Just it's mind blowing to me. So there was a point where I didn't think there was much information I could give, because I didn't have a certain amount of streams, or didn't make a certain amount of money, or didn't have, certain type of jewelry or whatever. But now it's like, nah, I have game that I can give to artists right here on the same level as me or a few steps behind me. And it's beneficial to those artists. And like I said, to the people that actually just like to support the independent artists and learn more about the industry and know why things are the way they are and why we move the way we move. This type of information is great for those type of, I would say, those type of supporters and fans as well, because they really know what's going on. They really want to find ways to support and invest into people that they like and the music that they think is dope. So all in all, man, it sounds like going direct to consumer is the way that the game is starting to go. Pharrell did it earlier this year with that project he dropped directly on his site. Even Kanye is now doing what Sway said all them years ago and releasing his Yeezy products directly from his website. So things are changing. It's not nothing new. It's honestly going back to the way it was before. The only difference is it's not going from artist/label to store to consumer. A lot of these artists are, including myself, are starting to go from website straight to consumer, or something like a Even Biz straight to consumer. So we're gonna see how it goes, man. I'm gonna get the more information I get, the more I'm gonna bring that back to the squad, The more information I get, the more I'm gonna bring back to the squad to discuss, to the artists in the squad and the fans and supporters in the squad, and we're gonna talk about it. But this thing is ever changing, and we're gonna forever be learning new things with this music industry. But again, I go by the name of Hemingway, and I appreciate y'all for checking in with me. Make sure y'all go by the site and check out my new single, Distracted, which is out right now. And until next time, I'm out.
I get distracted by women, thrown off my mission. You got my attention, girl, I can't get enough of you. Distracted by women, thrown off my mission. Your body's so tempting, girl, I can make some time for you. One day I met this girl, her name I didn't get to know, but she was having so much swagger, and she was having so much soul. I came across her on my grind, got caught up on the vibe she owned. Now I don't really know how I should tell her that I gotta get back to this dough. You know I get distracted by women, thrown off my mission. You got my attention, girl, I can't get enough of you. Distracted by women, thrown off my mission. Your body's so tempting, girl, I can make some time for you.